Funding for this edition of Caucus, New Jersey has been provided by the Russell Berry Foundation, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, making healthcare work, J.H. Cohn, accountants and consultants since 1919, Fedway Associates, Inc., and by PNC, for the achiever in us all.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. On this program, you're going to meet three people involved in philanthropy, giving, making a difference in the lives of others. First up is a very good friend and a neighbor in the town of Montclair, is Rose Cali, who, you know, she's called an education advocate, but she's so much more than that. You serve on how many boards, Rose?
8.
Are you ready for this? I have a list, and just confirm this is true. New Jersey State Salvation Army, Liberty Science Center, Montclair Art Museum, the Westchester Italian Cultural Center, the Sharon Miller, great dance studio in town, our kids go, NJ-PAC, oh my God. And how about this one, the John J. Cali School of Music at Montclair State.
What a thought.
By the way, tell us about that, the John J. Cali School of Music at Montclair State University. That's near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, and if this is indeed about philanthropy, we rolled into it through the School of Music, actually.
Tell what John is.
Oh, John? He's my lovely husband, who we decided to honor and surprise him with this naming gift. And the naming, which I negotiated with Dr. Cole, was
Susan Cole at Montclair State?
Yeah, and I also sit on that board as well.
In your spare time?
Yeah, and it was an intriguing process for us in the family, because I had a powwow with our 5 kids and suggested that John, who is a bit older than me, a very wise gentleman, and music was his basic passion in life, and still is, even though he became a developer and successful.
A very successful developer.
And I thought this would be a great legacy for him, fulfilling his greatest passion, and to name the School of Music after him, but dedicated to scholarships, not bricks and mortar. And that's beautiful. Where I worked with Susan on that one.
It's a wonderful place. By the way, log on to our website. We'll make the link to Montclair State University, my alma mater, but more importantly, the John J. Cali School of Music. Rose, do this for us. Since this series talks about philanthropy and philanthropists, what is philanthropy to you, and where did your sense of philanthropy come from?
Well, you mentioned one of the boards I'm on is the State Board of the Salvation Army, and basically that's where it came from. I think only in retrospect, though. When we were kids, my mom had been an orphan in the Salvation Army in Texas, and when she found herself a single parent with 4 kids in New Haven, she turned to the Salvation Army to help her with her 4 babies. And we grew up with them for almost 12 to 14 years, where they supplied us with, and you know this, Stephen, you volunteer at our local Salvation Army.
It's a great organization.
The Thanksgiving dinner, the Easter dinner, and the Christmas help that they gave Mom.
They were in your life?
Yeah, for a long time.
So then you decided, you know, when became very fortunate and also a lot of hard work and amassed a significant degree of wealth, that you would give back to them?
Giving back comes in a variety of shapes and forms, because I was not always married to John. So I embraced volunteerism very early in my life, based on my experience at the Army, because they were always present in their facility, were the needy and the homeless. And we as kids used to work with them. And when we left that, it just was indelible. It was part and parcel of what one would think about doing.
You know, Rose, in many ways, this series is an effort as part of our Make a Difference initiative to help people find ways to make a difference. You've often said that writing a check is great, but giving your time is different. And again, we're not in any way advocating you don't write a check.
Oh, yeah, please.
Important.
We need it, yeah. Balance
for you?
I'm a very hands-on volunteer. I like to be part of shaping the change, looking at, let me preface
by the way,
that,
I should
though.
tell folks that you were the driving force behind the creation of the Yogi Berra Museum at Montclair State University, and very hands-on, so go ahead.
Yes, I built it, practically.
Other than that.
I changed light bulbs for many years.
Very hands-on.
That was a great project. But,
You're talking about the giving.
Yeah. And writing the check, yes, it's important because everyone needs the funding to help support these entities. But personally, I need to be there. I need to feel it, sense it, and contribute in a more meaningful way that suits me as a donor.
Be specific. You provide advice. You get in there, talk to the staff.
Yeah, and it's really all free of charge. And as I've gotten more mature, I've learned a lot and where my skill set really lies. And it's in networking, problem solving, strategic planning, looking at not-for-profits. They're really a business. And unless they affect the business model, they're not going to make it. So everyone I work with has that real sense about them.
What has it done for you, Rose?
It's a very selfish motive. I feel like I am giving back and I am making a difference. So that appeases me. But it also reflected with our kids. I mean, I'm looking at my grandkids who are your children's friends, and these kids give back. They're very motivated to give back. So we served as role models, and I think that's more the legacy of who we are as a nation. And unfortunately, dramatic events are what call people to arms, like the earthquake, the tsunami, Katrina, et cetera, and neighbors get together because we become a nation of more individual.
We come together around those crises.
Yes.
But every day.
We don't sustain it necessarily, but it's amazing who's giving. I mean, in various ways. The folks who show up at the soup kitchens, the folks who show up in our town, Montclair, which is a very active community of volunteerism. And it's the most simple gesture. And we're struggling to keep libraries open throughout this country, and we've got a volunteer cadre who are interested in supporting our Montclair Library.
Let me ask you something, Rose, and limited time we have left. What would you say to someone watching this show who says, you know, I'd like to give, I'd like to do more. I'm barely being able to pull it off myself.
We have a few mutual friends who've asked me to guide them in that, and it's usually finding out where their interest lies, because you could be very self-serving and say, gee, you've got to go to the museum or to the university. What juices them? What touches them that really would motivate them to be a successful volunteer to assist in any of these entities?
You have to have the passion.
You must have the passion.
Not just the organization, but the work they're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't have to be incredibly wealthy to be a philanthropist.
No.
Explain that real quick, 30 seconds or less. How can you do that? You don't have a foundation.
Time. It's time. You can make that time. The time you might be sitting in front of a TV or going out to eat somewhere, you just carve out, like Big Brothers, I'm chair of their board as well.
With Carlos.
Carlos Lenya.
A lot of the same friends.
And
great organization.
It's taking, you know, I think we require 4 hours a month to mentor a kid. That's all it takes. It's these small gestures that really magnify when you build the multitudes.
Rose, you're not just a role model for your children and your grandchildren. You're a role model for all of us, including your neighbors in Montclair. I want to thank you.
Well, thank you, Stephen.
You're terrific. Thank you, Rose. Stay right there.
Thank you.
Hey, listen, folks, when we come back, we'll be joined by Chris Daggett, who heads up the Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation, and they are making a big difference. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hey, that was good.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org and visit us online at caucusnj.org.
Christopher Daggett is president and CEO of the Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation. Good to see you, Chris.
Good to see you, Steve. Thanks.
Tell folks what the Dodge Foundation is and why it's so important.
Dodge Foundation is one of New Jersey's largest private foundations. It's been around since 1974 and was set up upon the death of Geraldine Rockefeller Dodge, who left about $50 or $60 million to be used for charitable purposes. That fund grew over time to about $380 million at its height. And today, after the financial meltdown in 2008 and other expenditures, it's about $260 million.
Describe to folks the primary areas of your philanthropic focus.
We focus primarily on arts, education, and the environment.
Okay, it's interesting because a lot of people watching us in several states right now recognize you from 2009, and you run for governor in the state.
I did.
The transition from that to becoming the lead person at a major foundation, explain it.
Well, I've been involved in philanthropic work all my life, and certainly all my professional life, I should say. Been involved in a number of nonprofit boards. I also sit on the board of the Schumann Fund for New Jersey. I sit on the board of the Hudson River Foundation. When I got finished with the campaign, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next, and I was approached and asked if I'd consider this position. And when all the interviews ended, I was the last man standing, so here I am.
You describe philanthropy as a love for mankind.
Exactly.
Describe it.
That's the actual definition of philanthropy. And it is absolutely that. It is a reflection of people's interest in giving back and taking care of their fellow citizens or their fellow countrymen, whatever it happens to be. But people work to give back to others.
What was the trigger for you? Because you and I have talked off camera about children,
Yep.
raising our kids. And so I'm always curious in your background what the trigger was for this love for mankind, this philanthropic approach, but also how you've talked to your own children about this.
Yeah, it's probably, mine comes because my parents were very actively involved. They helped start a church in South Jersey when I was a kid. Then my dad was on the school board and then in South Jersey. Then he was on township council up here in North Jersey where we live. And my mother was involved in all kinds of church activities and the AAUW. So they were always
Association
involved.
Of University Women.
Exactly, the American Association of University Women. And so they were involved, and it was sort of a culture of our family, if you will. And it became part of what I am and what I do.
And how do you talk about it in your own family now?
Same way. I mean, my kids are grown. I mean, I don't have young kids anymore. But certainly growing up, talked about the importance of working with others and helping people out.
There's an interesting initiative that the Dodge Foundation is involved in. We're aware of it because it comes up a lot in our program, Sustainable New Jersey.
Yep.
Talk about it.
Sustainable Jersey is a great program that was actually the brainchild of a couple of our local mayors, and it captured our interest at Dodge. We supported it. It effectively takes the concept of LEED certified buildings, where, as you know, the LEED certification is an environmental and energy certification. There are a number of categories: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. They took that concept and said, let's apply it to municipalities. So it started out as really an energy environmental focus, but quickly grew to say, well, wait a second, what does sustainability mean? And sustainability, at least in a municipality, is about community. So it quickly got much broader than that and became not just environment and energy, but it became, what are you doing in arts, and what are you doing in education, what are you doing for economic development, what are you doing to form community? And for whatever reason, it just caught the interest of communities around New Jersey, and there are now about 340, 350 municipalities have signed up for the program. About 70 or so are certified as bronze, and about 10 or so are certified silver. And it has just gotten this informal buzz around the state about what it is to be
Sorry for interrupting.
to have
The role
community.
of Dodge in making this happen. Explain that to folks.
The role of Dodge was we got interested and initially funded the program to the tune of about $75,000, and then the next year we were sufficiently impressed to jump it to $250,000, and this past year we put in over $400,000. So it's been a very big bet for us in the sense of we saw it was developing well, and as it got going, we thought this is something to really nurture and build as far and as quickly as we can.
Describe to folks how challenging and difficult it is. It's a little over $10 million a year.
$10.5 million a year that we give out.
The decision-making process, describe it.
There's a formal process.
And by the way, full disclosure, we have been recipients, the Caucus Educational Corporation in the past, have been recipients of grants from the Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation. We know how competitive and difficult it is.
Well, there's you can go on our website, which is www.grdodge.org, and on it you will see the guidelines for our various areas, the arts, education, the environment. We do some things in media, as you know,
Sure.
And some in public policy, but there are guidelines, and someone could go on the guideline and give us basically a letter of inquiry, and if we like that, then we invite a proposal. and then it goes through a fairly rigorous review. And if we decide to fund people, then we also stick with them in the sense that we do a lot of work. We do a lot of work with our grantees, both in terms of helping them with board development, organizational development, fundraising, succession planning, all the sorts of things you need to do to build an organization and to make it thrive.
It's funny, the foundation community is misunderstood by many, and not even, a lot of folks aren't even aware of it. How important is the foundation community to the larger philanthropic picture in this country?
The foundation community is largely, is very important, and I want to focus on your point about it's not well known, and it's true. It's interesting. There is an incredibly symbiotic relationship between the foundation community and government. There's a number of government services that are provided. Well, foundations provide all kinds of money for organizations, for after-school programs, for arts, for really a wide range of things. But yet, I don't think people appreciate. A lot of people in government don't understand how foundations work. And yet, if they did, I think we would have a much better effort at collaborating and helping people in a much more robust and complete fashion than we do today.
And because of your background in government, you think about that a lot.
I think about it a whole lot.
It seems to me, I mean, I've known you a long time, it strikes me you think a lot about the possibilities.
Yes.
Of using foundations from a philanthropic point of view to leverage government initiatives,
yes,
and creating something that doesn't exist right now.
I spend a lot of time trying to get collaborative efforts going, both among my own peers, other CEOs and executive directors of foundations, but also in working with others in government and elsewhere. One of the things that foundations can do really well that we don't take enough advantage of is to convene groups. You can convene groups without anybody having a stake necessarily. In other words, you just bring people together and say, let's throw some ideas around. Let's see what we can come up with that might do something to advance education policy or something in the environment. And so I like to spend a lot of time doing that, because I think if you do the collaborative efforts well, you can have a much greater impact than if you try to go it alone.
Tremendous satisfaction in your work, right?
A great satisfaction, although I have to tell you, it's a funny thing. People say these are very good and cushy jobs, but it takes a lot of hard work to give money away well, I have to tell you.
Yeah, well, we appreciate the work that you're doing, and clearly you're making a difference. And as always, Chris, thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it. Stay right there.
Appreciate it. It's always good to be with you.
Yeah, stay with us, folks, here on Public Television as we continue to talk about philanthropy and those who make a huge difference. Thank you, Chris. That was good.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org and visit us online at caucusnj.org.
Looking at my good friend Bernie Koster, who it says he's a philanthropist, but he is so much more than that. He gives so much. Hey, can I do a quick list of the organizations, and I'm going to not do justice. UJA Federation. The Adler Aphasia Center.
Absolutely.
The Berry Foundation, Russ and Angelica Berry Foundation. Englewood Hospital. What did I miss?
YCS, Youth Consulting Services, Bergen Pack, UJA.
What's up with you, Bernie? I mean, by the way, log on to our website. We'll give you the whole list. When did this start for you? Because I've worked with you at the Adler Aphasia Center with the Berry Foundation. And first of all, you're usually doing some ad journals. You've done 39 ad journals, over $15 million raised. When did this start for you, and why?
I became involved with charities way back to when I was probably 9, 10 years old. Two things happened which made an impression on me. One, my mother and father had a kosher butcher store in Brooklyn, and I'll remember that when a customer came in and didn't have money, my mom would say, "It's okay, pay me when you have it." And that made an impression on me as to how to deal with people. And the other thing is that I went to a Jewish parochial school, and we were given a blue and white box, which was raising money for the Jewish National Fund. And I used to take it and walk the streets and just collect coins, and it all added up. And it's followed me throughout my entire life. Wherever I've been involved, and I want that to continue for as long as God gives me good health.
But Bernie, I'm curious about this. You're a successful business person. How do you balance serving on these boards, raising money through ad journals, and also, you've been helpful to us. I mean, I've called you and I said, Bernie, I need help with such and such, and you said, I think I know who we might be able to talk to. And in the relationships, your Rolodex or BlackBerry, whatever it is, it must be amazing. How do you balance that with your business, or is it part of your business?
I have three parts to my life. My family comes first, my charities come second, and my work, which I'm still involved with, comes third. And I'm blessed. I just seem to have the ability to do it.
Is it a gift?
It's a gift. It's a gift from God to be able to spend the time, be able to connect people, which is something that I really, really enjoy. Networking the charities together as well, collaborating with one charity with another. It's all one big community.
You just said it. When we asked you, when our producers were doing a pre-interview with you, and they asked about what philanthropy really is, and you just said community. Talk about community.
To me, the community represents every segment of what is needed to have a productive, effective community with people who care about what's going on in the community. And that's why my involvements in charities is so diverse. We can go from Bergen Pack to the Jewish home at Rockley, which is a nursing home for 180 people. And I have a need to make sure that I'm involved with the segments of the community that are important to me.
What do you get out of it?
I go to sleep at night with a clear head. I wake up in the morning and I feel good about what I do. I'm finishing up, you mentioned journals before. I'm finishing up the journal for Englewood Hospital in conjunction with our gala, April 30th.
We should start, folks, we're taping this in the middle of, toward the end of April, and I know that gala. I've hosted it before. It's a great event.
We're having Howie Mandel and Chevy Chase there this year, but the journal is probably the most successful one that I've ever been involved, and that's 39 journals that I've done. We've raised so far about $1.1 million just on the journal alone.
What do? You get on the phone, you call people and say, hey, do the right thing?
I get on the phone, introduce myself, talk with passion, which I think is something that
Passion.
You need, because that's how you get the message across to the person who you're talking to. The passion, the sincerity, and people who know me just know that I'm doing this because I want to help people.
Sometimes you call people you know, sometimes people you call people you don't know.
Exactly.
Sometimes you get referred to someone, right, who may know of you because someone said Bernie's going to call. How do you teach, by the way, do you teach other people this stuff?
I do at some of my charities where there are new people who are coming on to work with the board to raise money. I hold sessions on how best to approach it and how to conduct yourself. I mean, when I call a person for a charity, I'm an ambassador of the charity.
An ambassador?
Yeah, it's because I'm representing that charity, and therefore what I say and what I do is reflective of the charity. So even if I get a no, I end it with a thank you, because I appreciate the time that the person spent, and maybe next year they'll do something.
How you accept no matters. I've learned that in fundraising for public television. One last question, Bernie. It's interesting about time. You spend approximately 2 hours a day, 6 days a week doing this.
I would say that's fair.
Did you schedule, hey, I'm on the phone, this is what I'm going to do, this is the time?
Well, I just had an article written about me with 201 in the new
201
magazine.
is the Record's terrific magazine. Yeah.
And they have a new magazine affiliate called L'Chaim. And the caption of the article is Breakfast with Bernie.
That's right, you have breakfast a lot.
I start off probably every day with a breakfast in connection with one of my charities. And it could be with people who I'm talking to get them to be involved with the charity as well. It doesn't have to be a solicitation. And then I usually have meetings 3 times a week. Sundays I spend a good 2 to 3 hours on the phone calling people to solicit for the journal.
Constant.
And I have a wonderful wife.
You have a great wife.
Who is very supportive, which is very important, and she backs me up 100%.
Hey, Bernie, I know your schedule's busy. I know we talk to each other on the phone a lot. Can I do breakfast with Bernie with you?
Anytime. It would be my pleasure.
I love you, Bernie. You're the best. Stay right there.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 20 years of broadcast excellence, and 13 for WNET, in cooperation with NJN Public Television and WHYY. Funding for this edition of Caucus, New Jersey has been provided by the Russell Berry Foundation, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, making healthcare work, J.H. Cohn Accountants and Consultants since 1919, Fedway Associates, Inc., and by PNC for the Achiever in Us All. Promotional support provided by NJ Biz, All Business, All New Jersey, and the Star Ledger and NJ.com, Everything Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus, New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.
This is One-on-One. Join me as we get up close and personal with some of today's most compelling personalities.
This is one you can't afford to miss.
Saturdays at 10 a.m. on 13, Mondays at 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. on WLIW World, and Thursdays at 11:30 p.m. on WLIW 21.